Hello, Keller Williams agents. Just want to show you how to go about filling out a WB1, which is a Wisconsin exclusive right to sell listing form correctly. So we're going to break this down into small chunks. So each video will be about 5 minutes in length. And I thought I'd just start right on the outside with how to get into dot loop. So I'm at, let me back up for a second. I just went to mykw.kw.com. So I got logged in and I just went to start my transactions. So if you see that here, I just clicked on that and it took me to my dot loop. And I have, because I do a fair amount of test loops, if you will, that's what I'm going to use for this, right? So test loop for Darren, just that's what you're seeing. And then I'm going to add a document to it. And so I just went here and it's a templated document. So because we've got that set up for you. And then I'm going to choose listing single family and it is the WB1. So let's hit copy and bring that in. It's going to import that. Hit OK, and it was added to the loop. So now what I'm going to do is click on that form, and it's going to let me do some autofill. And here's what I'd suggest you do is use this because it's going to save you a lot of time. So let's say seller. Actually, it's me, so I'm going to use my own address. So let's see. And I'm going to put in a different email so it doesn't confuse things. So I'll give you that email. So it took that. You type in phone number, just fill all of that out, and you can hit add person. So that's got me as the seller. And then I'm going to click out of that. So now I've got the seller there. If they could do up to four sellers, listing agent, I'm just going to choose me. And listing broker is Keller Williams Madison West. Then I could put in property information, right? So you could search by address or MLS number. I know it's not there, so I'm going to just type in uh, my information. There we go, 53711, Dane County. And I could actually put in the listing information. So again, this is just a demo, so I'm just putting in uh, what I might always do. I'm actually going to leave this stuff blank because I'm going to walk through that when we get to that spot in the offer, but or in the listing agreement. So here you can see it's now auto-filled what I already put in, right? So this is the WB1, the residential listing exclusive right to sell. It says the seller gives the firm the exclusive right to sell the property. The description 5510 Cataspen. Now I did this wrong because I should have done this on a condo listing, which is a WB2. Let's just assume this was single family. So then, like, the unit number wouldn't be there. So I'm just going to take that out. And again, it filled it out. It missed a few things. So, like so there's the address of Fitchburg, Wisconsin, and it's in the city of Fitchburg, and it's in Dane County. Now, items included in the sale price. It says seller is including in the list price of the property all fixtures not excluded on lines 12 through 14 below. So, typically, this would be things that would be not considered fixtures, which is anything typically that's glued, screwed, or nailed. So I'm going to include the refrigerator, let's say microwave oven. Let's see. If there's anything else that might be included that isn't considered a fixture, glued, screwed, or nailed, best thing to do is just walk through the list with the seller. Think about that. Think about what it is that they want to make sure goes with the sale. Let's say I want the washer and dryer to go. Again, not glued, screwed, or nailed. Dishwasher isn't necessarily screwed in, so might want to be clear about that. And again, all of this stuff becomes negotiable in the offer. This is just kind of having that conversation with your seller. Now, line 12, this would be items not included in the sale price that would be considered fixtures. So let's talk about that for a moment. Let's say the dining room light fixture was a gift from Great Aunt Martha, and they want to make sure that that doesn't go with the sale of the property. Two things with that. You can exclude it here, but better yet, I think, would be to have the seller replace it prior to having the property go on the market. Here's what happens. If it's an awesome light fixture and it really makes the room, and a buyer sees it, even though the buyer feels that, or the seller has said that they don't want the buyer to have it, the buyer may fall in love with the property because of it. So best thing to do is just get rid of it before it becomes an issue. And so I always recommend that to sellers and say, let's just get it replaced. Go to Home Depot, go to a lighting store, find a really good fixture that won't take away from the marketability of the property and replace it that way. So that's typically your best thing there. So moving on, we said caution is to identify fixtures to be excluded by the seller or which are rented and will continue to be owned by the lessor. So that's the other piece of it. So the thing that typically does get missed is water softener because it's rented. A lot of times water softeners are rented. And so I would want to make sure that that's here, and I'd have that conversation with the seller because if it's a rented water softener, all of a sudden it becomes an issue after the time of sale. So let's just cover that. List price, it did autofill the 335 here, but it doesn't autofill the spelled out, and it's really good to do that so that you're certain that you've got the price right. So 300,000. 335,000, right? 300. You see, I don't do this every day. There we go. 335,000. That's and zero. Just like a check, I'm going to do. So 335. 335,000, 335,000. There we go. Marketing. It's the seller authorizes the firm and its agents to agree to use reasonable efforts to market the property. Seller agrees that the firm and its agents may market the seller's property identified on lines 7 through 11, which is up above, during the term of this listing. The marketing may include. Now, here's the thing. Whatever you include here in marketing, make sure that you do it first and foremost. And second, one of the things I've seen, and this isn't incorrect, yet many agents have put together like their 16-point marketing plan, their 20-point marketing plan, something like that, where you're referencing a document you've created. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you've done that, the only thing you need to make certain of is that you include that document as part of the file. So I would say, Kittleson real estate team 21-point marketing plan as attached. And then I want to attach it with the file. So that's all. Maybe I add it as an addendum A so that it's part of it, and then we're good. It goes on to say the firm and its agents may advertise the following special financing incentives. That's if your seller has the opportunity to do some sort of special financing. 99% of the time that's not, so I would just put not applicable, NA in that box. And it's the seller has the duty. Now, this is kind of key, line 24, and make sure you cover this with your seller. The seller has a duty to cooperate with the marketing efforts of the firm and its agents. So this is it's unilateral. It's a two-way street, right? See lines 246 to 252 regarding the firm's role as marketing agent and the seller's duty to notify the firm of any potential buyers known to seller. I always cover lines 246 to 252 with a seller. Goes on to say seller agrees that the firm and its agents may market other properties during the term of the listing. Basically, what it's saying is that we have the right to take other listings, just like you have the right to take other listings. And so talk about that with your seller. Line 27 and 28, commission. The firm's commission shall be 8%, 7%, 6% plus the 295 broker administrative commission. So it just says select one. And so really it's just a matter of which one they would select. And you can see when you do whatever they select, it puts a box there on the other two so we get clarity that way. So great script, by the way. So this is a little bit of a bonus on this video. Go through the whole listing consultation with the seller. Get agreement on everything, including sale price, and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it seems like that you're ready to move forward with me handling the sale of your home. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Well, then the only other decision you need to make is what you're going to pay our firm to handle the sale of your home. And the options are 8%, 7%, or 6%. Plus, we have a $295 broker administrative commission. So I just needed to choose which one of those three percentages you'd like to pay us to handle the sale. And then I slide the contract to them or turn the laptop to them or your tablet, however you're doing this, and ask them to just choose one. Now we're going to go through the next section, and then we'll break this video to the next one. But it talks about commission. It says it's earned when the seller when the following has happened, right? So seller shall pay the firm's commission, which is earned if during the term of the listing. Number one, the seller sells or accepts an offer. That's what most sellers believe is when a commission is due, so that's true. Number two, seller grants an option to purchase any part of the property that's subsequently exercised. That is happening once in a while, so just understand that. Number three, the seller exchanges or enters into a binding exchange agreement on all or any part of the property. Number four, a transaction occurs which causes an effective change of ownership or control of any or part of the property. And number five, a ready, willing, and able buyer submits a bona fide offer to the seller for the property at or above the list price and have substantially the same terms set forth in this listing and the current WB11 residential offer to purchase, even if the seller does not accept the buyer's offer. So to get that, so this is why we want to be clear in what we list out here in the listing agreement, because if an offer comes in that's at the list price or above and substantially at the same terms spelled out, which we'll get into in the next set of pages, there is a commission earned. So make sure we cover that with your seller. That's an important conversation. And it says the firm's commission shall be earned if during the term of the listing one seller of the property sells, conveys, exchanges, or options as described above an interest in any or a part of the property to another owner, except by divorce judgments. That's the only exception to that. Now, here's the key. Any of this could be altered, right? So if you've got a seller that doesn't like paragraph 5, and I wouldn't make this a practice, yet if it means taking the listing or not, you could strike through paragraph 5, right? So item 5, I should say, you could have that struck through. So that's not part of this. Again, I wouldn't do it in practice. Just know though that that is an option if it means not taking the listing or getting it. Goes on to talk about when commission is due and payable. It says the firm's commission is due and payable in full at the earlier of closing or the date set for closing, even if the transaction does not close unless otherwise agreed to in writing. And then it just talks about how it's calculated. So again, just understand that. Now, line 52, and then we're going to stop this. Once we've had the seller determine what they were going to pay us to handle the sale, and by the way, I would go out with this checked already. I would go with it at 7 or 8 if pre-filled out, but you may choose not to. And then down here, I also have to make sure I let the seller know what we're offering to others in co-broke commissions or buyer agency commissions, right? So what we put on the MLS as SA or BA in those columns on the bottom of the MLS data sheet. So I would put 3% here and have that pre-typed as well. And then there would be you could put exceptions to the commission earned if any that if that would happen. I can't imagine how that would happen. So that's the beginning. That's the first page of the residential listing contract exclusive right to sell, our WB1. The WB2, which is the condo, is very similar. It covers a couple other items specific to condominium ownership, yet it's very close to this, so not much difference. So that's it. Thanks for watching and watch for the next video.